Peace. I realize this is now my fourth upload and I have yet to do an introduction. So let me start off by introducing myself. My name is Maya and I'm a mystic, which is something that I plan to unpack, uh, in future videos. So working on some things, curating some things. So if my messages resonate with you, I hope you stick around to see how things develop on the channel. But in the meantime, as I'm feeling called by spirit, as I'm feeling led, I will just come on here and share a message, and that's simply, the intent to move the message. And so today's message, gosh. This one is very it is about a very specific group of people. um I am not saying by any means that what I will be describing is exclusive to these people, to this group. But the message that I am receiving from my spirit team is specifically for this group, so that is all that I can speak to. With that being said, I am speaking specifically to Black people in America who have arrived to a certain level of consciousness, the heart consciousness. So there is something very specific about certain descendants within this group of people. So it's not all Black people. And it may not even be necessarily all awakened Black people. I'm not sure. Again, I don't want to speak as if I am all knowing or that I have all of the pertinent details, because I don't. But I do think that I have something that's important to bring to the collective, to bring to the conversation, that hopefully we can start to, if there, because I can't be the only one getting these messages. So there may be some dialogue that we're meant to be having on some level, that is very much connected and very important to this shift that everybody, um, to the shift in consciousness. Okay. So with that being said, that was a lot, and I haven't even gotten into the message. This is just to set the framework up. Again, this is not to create dialogue around separatist movements, ethnic, hierarchy bullshit. I have no interest in those conversations. I very much identify at all in all the levels of my being, which means, I am a Black American woman, but I am also an African by my ethnicity, but I'm also a human, that I'm also a soul that's having a human experience. Like, it's layers, right? Um, so I really feel like it's important to give this disclaimer, because I don't want anyone to stop dead on that and lose the meat here, because this is really important. There's some sort of connection, and I don't subscribe to any particular religious order, group, school of thought. None of them. I'm not exclusive to anybody. I have my special gumbo that's worked for me, and I'm initiated and informed by spirit first and foremost. Okay? And the rest of my credentials are earned through my actual lived experience. So that those are the things that I'm speaking from. I will be sourcing things that is coming into my awareness, into my conscious awareness, where it's provided to me. But I always encourage anybody, when I tell them something, I get a message, do your own research, do your own due diligence, go into contemplation and introspection, and talk to your spirit team, talk to your ancestors. Don't ever just rely on what one person is saying. But this is for me to have dialogue with other spiritually minded people who are, a part of this collective that I'm talking to, that I'm describing. Man, I know I'm gonna have to cut some of this out. It's just so important for me to get that disclaimer, and I hate it. I hate having to sound redundant, but something about that is just being stressed. Okay, this is not about racial superiority. So I'm really trying to plug the avenues in which people try to deflect or to create dissension and rifts between, like I said, what the core message is here. So there are, amongst the Black people in America, some very special descendants that are connected to the tribe of Judah. I'm just gonna get straight into it. The divine feminines, so this means the feminine people who embody the feminine archetype in this lifetime. So it's going to be mainly women, but it's not exclusively women. Okay? But feminine, whom are awakened through the heart chakra, they have leveled up to be able to embody the heart consciousness, which is going to give, and I'm going to use the her and she pronouns just for the ease of this conversation, okay? It's going to give her access to certain wisdom, certain truths, certain universal truths, certain primordial wisdom and experience and strength, okay? These divine feminines are high priestesses of the ancient orders. They are also spiritual warriors. And here's where we're getting to the key point here. Being a spiritual warrior in this leg of spiritual warfare is here to free the masculine, whom has been intercepted and corrupted and bonded into these unholy matrimonies. Okay? And matrimony, I'm not just I'm using that phrase, but it is not by any means relegated to just unholy marriages, although it is very much being exploited through romantic relationships, including marriages. Yeah, but it's not limited to that. It can be business partnerships or just anything that communities. It can be communities. Okay, there's been a specific agenda to attack the male descendants of this particular lineage. This lineage do your research. Figure out look at the 12 tribes, look at the tribe of Judah. I don't know about any of these things. I'm just passing on what I've been told. But these men have been under a spell. A lot of magic that exploited their sacral chakra. Fill in the blanks. Everything that and exploited and imbalanced sacral chakra. So we talking about addictions. We're talking about excessive, what do you call it? Indulgence, right? The hyper, fill in the blanks with whatever, right? When it comes to the senses, okay? An overindulgence, nasty, toxic partnerships that bait and build off of, very ego-centered, like unhealthy passion-led actions. Okay, so the sacral chakra was what was sort of thrown off balance here, and that disconnected so many masculine from being able to express through the rest of their higher octaves. There's something here about Neptune. There's something here about Neptune, where Neptune is specifically aiding our masculine in being able to wake up. I don't know. There's something about walking the path of a new perspective, but they cannot get this new perspective if we're not communicating to them and from a heart-led, soul-to-soul level. This is so important because they are betting on us becoming hardened after our experience. And we will ride to the other side. I'm talking to the feminines that are awakened here, that are going to be more susceptible to this particular form of, or this particular tactic of the enemy. This particular tactic is after she's won it all and she's had to build herself up with nobody in the dark, with all of the upheaval and the naysayers and all the things and all of the karmic shit. By the time she's freed herself, she ain't gonna give a damn about freeing nobody else. She'd be damned if she dealing with anybody that is remotely toxic. That's what they're betting on. That's what they're betting on. But we cannot give way to that feeling. We must acknowledge it. Let it come up. and then meet it with love, because that is the consciousness and the frequency that we are embodying, and that is where our source of power lies. And let me tell you something, there's not a more powerful frequency in which you can exist in. This is where the empress mode is on full throttle, and not only your empress mode is on full throttle, but your protection. I'm ringing a bell, sorry. I get so fired up about it because they out here playing with us. They want us to be shut down and so overwhelmed and so like, I don't know what's going on with these people. I got me and I got mine. We have to remember that we are each other. And when we see our people in bondage, we have to in some way feel still connected to their plight in a way where we still want to help and we're still open enough and move in a hopeful manner. There's an optimism that has to be involved in this equation. It can't just be the iron fist. We don't want to replicate what patriarchy made, okay, by just ruling the with the iron fist, but in a dress. What fucking sense does that make? No, we want to bring balance. And how we bring balance, how the feminine does her thing, is through the embodied grace and compassion and empathy. These are the key tenets of the universal love. And love is not relegated to the romantic shit. Matter of fact, what I think a lot of people are not going to be ready for, especially these men, is that they're going to be moved into positions, I think, are going to be called into taking oaths of celibacy so they can heal their sacral chakra, okay? And they can be able to be in partnership and relationship with divine feminists that are connected to their soul family that they are meant to work with. They're able to be in relationship in a healthy dynamic because they can't be involved in that way. There's a reason for that, and everyone's going to have to, we're going to have to, so there's a little awakening to these things that I think women, we're going to have to start communicating that, excuse me, femmes, we're going to have to start communicating that and understanding how deep this game goes. But specifically to our wounded Black men and our wounded Black masculine, we got to understand this bigger web that has been woven. And if we have been the ones that's been, the veil has been pulled back from us, we don't look back and be like, oh, child, that's no, they have been conditioning us to fall into that trap. They've been making that the case for the last 30 years. They have been prepping for this moment that they knew was coming. And there's something with the Lions Gate. The lions, the leaders that consist of a harmonious community. It's everybody standing side by side. There's a unification here that first has to be achieved through the sort of like rescue mission, if you will. You know what I mean? We got to get reoriented around what are we doing here. The awakening is not just breaking the curses of our generation, our bloodlines. It is that, but it is beyond that. It's wanting to literally heal the world and extending that by first emanating it from having healed ourselves, and doing that to be like the infectious thing that we pass on. We pass on the cure of love. Okay, and we can only really do that when we embody a optimism, a hope. We have to meet hopelessness with hope, the courage, the dedication, the passion that you have to do that. Like, that's what time it is. So all of this sacred rage and fire that's burning in us now, that's getting revved up, that we're communicating because we're done with the karmic shit. We don't want to be dealing with all these. Yeah, I get it. And also channel that into freeing folks from these, cycles that we see them in. We see them in the hamster wheel of self-sabotage. There is some way that we're able to gracefully hold the door open for somebody to know that they are worthy of making the steps that are hard work. Yeah, it's hard work, but literally that is the work. And there's something about leading up to this 8-8 portal, this Lionsgate portal, that we have an opportunity to really realign ourselves with our true destiny here and our inheritance. And that means that we need to retrieve as many of us as possible. Bitch, it's Pokemon, catch them all out here. And that's not going to be through none of that low vibe stuff. We have to be able to flip it to a higher octave. Neptune aids us in doing that. I don't, y'all look at your charts and stuff. I'm not an astrologist by any means, but Neptune is definitely playing a key role. And if you're listening, if you've gone to the depths, especially when Mercury was retrograde in Cancer, there was something about, there was a pearl to be unearthed in the depths. And I feel like the depths was having discernment around what does it mean to be compassionate? What does it mean to have healthy boundaries and being compassionate? That balance. How to be able to acknowledge that there's a shadow in somebody because you were once there, or there's something about that experience that you can bear witness to, but you don't stay there, right? There's something about refining that, sitting with that, and there is likely somebody that an awakened feminine has already activated just in her aura, and that maybe she's aware of, that she is supposed to be working to help sort of coax him towards his own awakening, towards and support through. I'm being shown, when we think about Dorothy, I'm gonna reference The Wiz because I know that one more. But I do know Dorothy in the original Wizard of Oz. She's in the blue and white. Y'all look into the colors, particularly the white, right? And she's in that light blue. It's more of a light blue. So white is purity, is innocence, right? It's newness, right? It can sometimes mark fertility, the newness of a thing. The light blue is the throat chakra, right? Being able to communicate in a way that it has that has a level of innocence, of purity, of freshness to it. This was her special power, that when she got swept up to Oz, that was her power that allowed her to encounter these folks and literally 180 their whole experience. They were the same people, but she allowed them, through the way that she communicated to them about them, allowed them to see themselves and their reality differently, even though ain't shit changed. They all wanted a brain did they ain't get none of that shit that they went to the wizard for, because first off, he was fraud. And the way that she was able to perceive and communicate things was able to expose that, right? But not in a way that was that was destructive. The way that we come to call judgment in order, it's about constructive, reconstructing things. If you're breaking things down, it's because you're replacing it with something better, not just tearing stuff down. They want for us to pull away, to tear shit down, and to sit back and wait and be like, know what they're going to do, to be completely disassociated, even from those that we have been sent here to help awaken and support through their awakening. I feel that this is very much the time where we're in the position now to give, to pour, to invest in our collective that right now might can't meet us. So we're behind a certain level of protection for that reason, but we're protected so that we can still pursue helping folks get awake, because there is a special moment, I think, this crowning moment where there is an opportunity for us to really reclaim sovereignty in ways we've never ever imagined for ourselves. And this is our birthright, this is our inheritance, and this is not on anything. It's the spiritual that I'm talking about. How that's playing out and making manifest in this reality, there's certain indicators that I've described in okay. And I don't think that that's the entirety of how everything is playing out. Everyone is getting realigned with their inheritance, and that has a different look for each group. I'm being told about the inheritance for the group that I belong to. That's how I know that that's the collective that I primarily will serve at this time, because those are the messages that I'm getting. That's whom I'm speaking to. So I just challenge us at this time where we are, we are glad to be on, like, a lot of us feel free. We have indeed done the work to free ourselves. And we can't save nobody. I'm not talking about going back trying to be Captain Save a Hole, where we're over explaining, we're over giving, we're laying ourselves bare for everybody. I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about still having a heart for what people may still be going through, what we remember we were once going through, that now we can compassionately offer to somebody, like, to, in a way that we wish was offered to us. And not because we trying to monetize the hell out of everything, not because now we're looking for all this external validation. We're beyond that. This is because this is what we're here to do. This is literally what we have been charged with. I've got so much to unpack. I haven't even gotten to the cards. There's so much about, like, how deep this goes historically. So, if this resonates with anybody, and if anybody really understands what I'm talking about, or has been getting messages around that, about, us really having to embody compassion and empathy and forgiveness, and really have a heart, particularly for our people. There's something about that helps to the way that we speak. There's a compassionate truth. It doesn't back away from the truth. It does still make you take ownership. It's a mirror, but it's a gentle gaze. It's a gentle reflection. It allows the space, the safety that people need to take on this arduous journey. It is hard. And we know that because we did it. But we'll get rewarded handsomely because we are now compassionately offering that to folks who right now are not energetically going to be able to reciprocate. So that means we're going to have to look at our work from a higher perspective. A higher perspective. We're going to be challenged to do that right now. And it will get more normal as we begin to integrate this into our everyday practice and just how we engage with one another. But in the meantime, I think it's just really important right now that we're looking at the opportunity that we have, like I said, leading up to this 8-8 portal, to really use our beacon of light through our communication, through our expression, to call people forth from the shadow and say, you're worthy of trying again. If at first you don't succeed, okay? Because we are each other, and we are meant to look out for each other, to that is how we are literally created. And these soul ties, we want to just be very careful at becoming too callous around cutting things and getting rid of that. Some things aren't meant to be broken. Some things are meant to be transformed. So we need to maybe sit with things to make sure that we're meeting the call, or we're sounding the alarm. There's a special dog whistle we each have, that we carry, a certain vibration we carry, that is here to help activate the rest of us. This is like I said, this is like Power Rangers, like we about to click up and become something greater than, the sum of our parts, as they say. But we need our parts. This is, the Captain Planet thing. We need everybody to bring themselves. But we first have to see that the importance of everybody joining us and not feeling like we got it. I don't know what y'all gonna do, right? I know. And I it's tough. After everything that I've been through, but that is to be the blueprint of how you then extract the wisdom and the love and compassion from everything you've been through to help somebody out, so that maybe at some point in the future nobody's going through that shit, because we've all healed, we've grown from it. Nobody's doing that anymore. That's the point, right? But anyway, God bless everybody who receives this message. I hope it resonates and finds its target audience. Please let me know if there's anything that you've been getting around these conversations. Like, have your spirit team been putting you on some things where it's like, I feel like we need a counsel for the divine feminine and be like, okay, ladies, like how we want to move this, because this spiritual warfare we're doing, it's yeah. Let's talk.